Alright guys, welcome back to Nick in China. I'm right now in the ancient town of Zhenyuan in the far east of Guizhou Province. It's a little town, little ancient town on a river. It's absolutely beautiful. Big mountains on either side. At the moment I'm up on the north side, on the top of the mountains where the old ancient city wall still remains, but in the town itself, which is just down here, there are heaps and heaps and heaps of historical buildings and loads of cool stuff to look at. So that's what we're going to look at in this video today. You can actually walk quite a long way along the wall. I'm going to head back down to the town now, I think, because it's super hot. I'm going to burn again, I think. But it's a nice little walk up. Only from the town, it's only about a 30-minute walk, I think. But it's a 30-minute, very steep walk. I'm actually feeling a little bit blurry this morning. Had a few too many beers last night. Caught up in the atmosphere. It's like, although it's historically a famous city, now it's a city basically famous for tourism, I think. As with a lot of old touristy towns in China, the inevitable thousands of bars appear. It's quite fun. Right, I'm just going down into the back into the old town now, into an area which it's called Sifangjin, I think. There's a number of very small, very pretty alleyways, lots of old buildings. Let's have a look. You know, when I hear the words Guzhen, like ancient village in China, usually I have to think about it, you know, because usually they're not my thing, I think. They're usually crap, I think. They're usually basically new towns, which are just masquerading as old towns. This place is very different. It's very different. There's so much to see everywhere. All these old courtyard houses, amazing. So this town is famous for its architecture, obviously, and its old Ming Dynasty buildings. Quite strangely, a lot of the buildings here, like this one in front of me, I'll show you in a second, they're very high, flat walls with no windows, really high roofs. It's called a Mato wall. So these high walls, the Mato walls, they originate from the east of China in Zhejiang, Jiangxi and Anhui province. The reason they're here in such great number, more than most places to be honest in China, is because in the Ming Dynasty, the Ming army came here, took control of this place and made it into it was a military outpost and a trading post. Lots of merchants and things came with the army and they brought their architecture with them. So this type of architecture, this type of wall, the purpose of it, although it looks very nice, it wasn't just about decoration, it was fire prevention. Big high walls between buildings made of stone. Quite smart. Always building. Bit of a labyrinth this. So many little alleyways, I'm not really sure where I'm going. Right, so I'm just inside the Fu family compound. There's loads and loads of these old family compounds in the old town. It's not huge, but it's got some proper treasures in here. So all this furniture is Qing dynasty. It's so intricate, and a gentleman just told me that of all of this stuff, it's all very expensive obviously, but this here, this tiny piece of white here that you can see, that is glass. And at that time in China, this was more expensive than diamonds because they didn't have glass in China. It was all imported from France apparently. So it was proper like gold dust here. And apparently these two figures here, they're designed to represent a butterfly. And at the bottom here, there are two cow horns. And together with this butterfly image, they're images that are very closely associated with the Miao people, who are some of the native tribespeople around here. Very interesting. This bed is behind glass, because it's so valuable. The gentleman was telling me that apparently even in the Beijing Museum they don't have an example of a Qing Dynasty bed quite like this. It's gold. Unreal. It's a fascinating place to explore. It really is like a living museum. Interesting. Alright, just coming out of that old part of the town now and into the main drag of the town that just goes along the river. It's quite pretty, it's quite busy. Let's have a little walk and see what else we can find. One big benefit about having a bit of a touristy aspect to a town is I can still get my much needed coffee fix. I'm thinking in a few days, the town I'm going to be heading a little bit more to smaller villages off the beaten path. Show you something a bit more real, I hope. How am I going to survive? How am I going to survive? Days without coffee. It's not okay. Right down by the river, this is the Zhenyuan Bridge. It's probably one of the most famous sites in the whole town. Let's have a little look at it. Just on the other side of the river as well, this is Qinglongdong. That is going to be for another video because it's huge. Oh, it feels nice to be down by the water. Goodness me. There's a lot of boat rides and stuff that you can do on the river, obviously. Short ones just inside the city, down like through the city itself, or town, not a city. And also you can do slightly longer journeys through what they call the three gorges, which, weather dependent, I might do tomorrow. The forecast at the moment doesn't look too great, but we will see. It was supposed to be raining today, so what does the weatherman know? Nothing. Old Monkey King there, accosting people. There's a little pavilion right in the middle of the bridge, a three-tiered pavilion. It's a hive of activity, you know, full of people trying to sell you shit. It's such a beautiful location for a town. It's just unbelievable. Let me give you a little pan around here. Pretty nice, like the Venice of China, but it doesn't smell like sewage. If you're going to hang out in Zhenyuan to get away from the sun, that's the place. Right, I'm going to have a little walk down to find a coffee shop now. Your host, Nick in China, is hot and tired. Had a late night last night, really late night. Shouldn't drink that much when I'm by myself. Never mind, it was a lot of fun. Right, until next time, I'll see you later guys. Take care, bye bye.